There's a very famous quote that says, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Some would look at what's happening here in America today and they would call the times unprecedented. They would say unforeseen. I would say the exact opposite. It all sounds and it all looks and feels tragically familiar. We have been here before. A country that's arguing over policies, a public that's discouraged and dismayed by the lack of public discourse, violence in our streets and in our schools, families grieving their children, and loved ones that were destroyed by a deranged maniac for no apparent reason, and a White House that is so hell-bent on grabbing power and control of your life, they will do anything and stop at absolutely nothing to take it away. They will even take away your last tool of defense. The Second Amendment is about deterrence. It's about ensuring the government respects the rights and the liberty of citizens. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of a people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Those 27 words are freedom's last line of defense. The founders understood deeply that without an armed citizenry, authentic freedom could not and would not survive. And how did they know this? What were their circumstances? What did they know about human nature and the temptation to seize power? Did they know how fragile freedom could be? What exactly were they drawing on? First, they were drawing on their own experience. The founders knew that the country would never have survived the Revolutionary War if the colonists hadn't owned their own weapons. The very first battles of the Revolutionary War, the battles of Lexington and Concord, started when 800 expertly trained British soldiers came to seize the weapons of the citizens. Those colonists, those Americans, were untrained. They only had their personal weapons, their muskets and pistols to fight back. One American named Samuel Whitmore was 78 years old. Now think about that. In the 1770s, the average life expectancy was less than 40. As the British were retreating from the battle, Samuel hid behind a wall on his property. He ambushed the British all by himself. He shot one with his personal musket. He then shot two more with personal dueling pistols. All three of those British soldiers died from their wounds. For his heroism, Samuel was shot in the cheek, bayoneted 6 times, and clubbed repeatedly. The British left him there to die, but he refused to. He got medical treatment and he lived another 18 years. He lived to see American independence secured, to see the ratification of the Constitution, to see George Washington elected as the first president of the United States. And when the Revolutionary War was over, Samuel Whitmore would go down in history as the oldest, perhaps even the bravest colonial militiaman. That's how the American people won the Revolutionary War. The Continentals challenged the infantry of the British Empire with the same firearms that they used to hunt squirrels and deer and to feed their families. Men like Samuel Whitmore did not ask for permission from their government to own their own firearms. They didn't need it. God gave them that right. Samuel defended his own personal property with his own personal weapons. He defended his own freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any idea what hard is. We don't have an oppressive foreign government that's marching across our land and threatening to take everything from us. But we all have our part we need to play to defend our liberty. God gave you those liberties. God gave you the right to defend yourself and your family. Our government recognizes that right, but we do not have to ask permission to defend it. Each of us needs to be as bold and as brave as Samuel Whitmore. It doesn't matter if you're 18 or if you're 78. Now, what else did the founding generation understand? They knew human nature. Writing in 1775, Thomas Paine laid it out clearly. With avarice and ambition have a place in the heart of man, the weak will become prey to the strong. The history of every age and nation establishes these truths, and facts need little argument when they prove themselves. Today, I admit the future looks uncertain. I would say clearly it can be found, the answers, studying the past and striving to do better. Let's be teachable. The